think the real magic of CoLab is that we can build it intentionally. So the next evolution of CoLab is really having students build their own games. This idea of user-generated content is amazing. I can't wait for my kid to do CoLab. Like it's the thing that keeps me going. I wish I knew. If I knew, I'd be a millionaire right now, and and would have done all sorts of different things. I would say just try things out. You don't know what you're good at. I don't know if you've read about this lady, Emily Rosen. She did 25 different jobs before her 25th birthday.
Hi, I'm Maddie.
And I'm Ella, and we are homeschoolers. We met through a homeschool community called Recess, where we found our love for learning and podcasting.
Come join us on our journey of self-directed learning as we dive into all the things about Recess on our
Recess Rundown podcast.
And we will hopefully see you there. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Recess Rundown podcast. Our guest today is a little bit of a polymath. He started out in the world of numbers as an accountant. He traded spreadsheets for a chef's jacket as a professional chef and eventually moved into the world of education. He is the visionary behind CoLab, a space dedicated to the magic of game design, the power of mentorship, and the belief that every kid deserves a little champion in their corner. Let's welcome the founder of CoLab and our favorite squiggly career expert, Alan. Thank you for being with us today, Alan.
Maddie, Ella, thank you for having me. I love that you've done your research and found my secret. Not many people know that I've been a chef.
Ooh, interesting. I find all the guests are always very surprised when we introduce them onto the show, because there's always some little thing that we found.
I should hire you to be private detectives. It's really cool that you found it.
All right, so for our listeners that do not know what CoLab is, it's an amazing program. I actually joined it for a short time, and it really challenged me. So it challenged me to speak up and take the lead while navigating their simulations and games. And it's really a place to tackle hard problems and find your voice with a big group. So to start off our podcast episode, our first question is, what was that aha moment that led you to create CoLab?
I actually, it started when I was working at Synthesis with Ben and Joanne and a few of the other team at Recess. I never really thought that I'd work in education. It was always a sector that I never really fell in love with. But then working at Synthesis, I learned, I really love this idea of helping kids learn whilst having fun. You don't get that in the traditional education system. And this sort of student agency, student-led idea it's so amazing. And when you actually watch the kids and see them grow in a very, very short amount of time, I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. So I left Synthesis, and me and a couple of friends were thinking, how can we help kids in a way that's meaningful? And one of the things that resonated most of us is that I think good facilitators and good teachers are like gold dust. They're really hard to find. Could we be the thing that sort of brings them together and then build a curriculum that is fun, is educational, and actually gives kids a sense of community? And CoLab's just evolved from that. We started off with games like Chicken Tomato, which is just a bit of a funny game, and Rickle and Elemental Escape. And then we thought, actually, this resonates. Let's keep building. And yeah, now we've just been building and building and building. We have about 40 challenges. And the next evolution of CoLab is really having students build their own games. This idea of user-generated content is amazing, right? And at the moment, we've had a student build something called Journey Through the Duat, which is the Egyptian underworld, and it's focused on critical thinking and resilience and lots of mazes and storytelling in it. And then the other one's based around the Great British Bake Off. I don't know if either of you are watch it, but there's an episode where one of the contestants gets sabotaged. I think they had like a frozen cake, and someone took the cake out of the freezer, left it on the side. It's so horrendous to watch, but it inspired us to build a challenge around it. So you have to sort of figure out who did it, how they did it. We're going to call it the case of the salty sabotage.
I love that you're incorporating the Great British Bake Off. My family and I are huge fans. We are waiting for the newest season to come out here in Canada. We're checking the app at least every week.
It's a great show, and I just think it's so relatable, right? I think a lot of it is really relatable, which I love. But yeah, that's CoLab. And hopefully a few of the kids at recess will be able to try out the this Great British Bake Off idea. I'm going to post it in the thread once it's ready.
That's awesome. I think I have never tried CoLab, but it sounds really cool. And from the way you're describing it, it sounds like such a perfect fit with Recess and their values.
Hmm. It's quite cool because I've known Ben for a while, and when he told me about the idea of recess, I was like, yeah, this makes total sense. Where do I sign up? And I think the thing that I love most about recess is that kids are really given that autonomy to pick and choose what works for them. I see the future of education as almost this sort of pick and mix where you choose the things that you want to do, you want to focus on, the things that you want to learn, because I think the traditional education system is a little bit broken.
That's, yeah, I think that's really cool. I personally have never experienced the traditional education system. I've been homeschooled my entire life, unschooled actually, but from what I've heard, it seems challenging.
Yeah, because Maddie, you've done online school, you've done homeschool, you've done quite a range, right?
Yes.
What's your experience been like?
um, Kind of like annoyed because I first of all, the first thing that really got me upset is that I didn't get to have my graduation because
Hmm.
right when COVID hit, I was going into first grade, I think, and then I couldn't get my graduation, so that got me upset. Um, and then we moved to online school, and then for some reason, in the year, they at least switched our teachers 5 times.
Wow,
And
five
I really
times.
thought yeah, and I kept getting attached to these teachers. Like, this is actually a really good teacher. I really like them. They're super fun. And then the next teacher comes around. This teacher is boring. And then they switch it again. And they're like, oh, wait, this one's actually pretty nice. They're kind of in the middle. They switch it again. Like, when is this going to end? I stayed in online school for a while. And then my mom found out homeschooling. And then the first year in this, I'm like, this is so much better. Like, my teachers don't change; they stay.
Hmm.
Uh, and actually, one a teacher that I met online is actually I'm still in touch with her, and we meet every week to
That's
just work on my projects and stuff.
That's really cool. But I also think like you get to do stuff like this, right? You build your own YouTube channel. One of the people that I used to mentor, she started a newsletter, and she has about 15,000 subscribers on Substack, and people are paying her to read about her writing. And just think, I wish I had that when I was a kid. So yeah, I think homeschooling has a lot of potential.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, 15,000.
It's taken her a long time, but I think just keep going, right, and see where it goes.
Definitely, yeah. So you mentioned in the forum that game design is such a magical experience. How do you design a challenge that is difficult enough to be rigorous but fun enough to keep a 9-year-old engaged online?
It's really hard because I think there's the easy answer is you just build something fun, right? You just build something fun and addictive. But anyone can do that. And I think the real magic of CoLab is that we can build it intentionally. So we're not just building, an escape room just for the sake of escape. We want you to learn something from it. And to be honest, that getting that balance is really, really hard. I have probably made about 30, 35, 40 games in the last 3 years. I've deleted over half of them and just threw them away. They just weren't good enough. And they're either too educational and not fun, or too addictive, but there was no educational value. And I just think that's not why we're here. I don't do this as my full-time job. It's a hobby, and I want to do it with a purpose. So yeah, it's kind of difficult, but what we found is that if you start with this idea of what is it I'm trying to teach, you work backwards from there, and you build a story around that. you can really do something that's quite simple, but it works. One of the challenges that I made is called the CoLab Cookie Thief. So the idea is it's like Clue. You play Clue. You interview all the CoLab facilitators, and they'll say some things, and you look around the CoLab office, and you sort of find different clues as well. And then there's a hidden room you have to find. And once you get all this together, you start to piece up this evidence of who the CoLab cookie thief is. There are there's one official answer, but there are actually some of our students found two alternative answers, and they both work. And the purpose is not to get to the answer. It's the idea of how do you synthesize all the information you've got? How do you articulate it in a way that makes sense? How do you persuade your teammates that actually your answer is the right one? And it's just a bit of fun as well. We have kids who've played it, but they still want to keep going back to it because they really enjoy it. I'm like, you already know the answer. Why are you playing this again? But they like the idea of it, and I think a lot of it comes down to that storytelling. We've got people like so Finn, who's a recess coach. She used to work at CoLab, and she's in that game. And I think a lot of the recess kids who play are like, I know Finn, and like we've tried to do it in her tone of voice, so it's quite familiar. And I think when you have that sense of familiarity, you probably also get a sense of belonging. You can then just enjoy yourself, right? There's no like shame in making mistakes. There's no shame in getting it wrong. And actually, a lot of our kids like that freedom to just explore.
Exactly. I really love number one how the kids want to keep going back to play it, even though they know it's going to happen, and how you added the collab office and all the guides and facilitators.
It was just fun because I almost have to imitate their tone of voice. I have to think about how they'd think. I can add little personal snippets and Easter eggs into the challenge. We have a game at CoLab called the Gingerbread Man Tag. So it's tag, but with gingerbread men and a wolf. And there's a trophy, unofficial trophy, and I just put that in the game. And that the name on the trophy keeps changing because we have a new winner. And people who play are like, oh, this has changed. And it's just little things like that, which I think kids appreciate when you've put in the thought and detail.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think we notice a lot more than a lot of adults give us credit for.
Kids are very, very smart. It's funny because when we hire facilitators, the interviewers aren't us, they're the kids. And we ask the kids, what do you think about X? And if they're like, nah, it was okay, we're like, no, you're not good enough. I think kids can smell that immediately.
Yeah, that makes sense. I love I love that we can smell.
I don't know, you have a sixth sense, right, in terms of this, which is good. But yeah, that's kind of what we're trying to do at CoLab. And I just think that in this sort of world where things are changing so quick and AI is moving in who God knows what direction, just being able to give kids a platform to build these foundational skills is really important. I often get asked, yeah, are you here to replace schools? And the answer is no, right? We don't teach English, we don't teach science, we don't teach languages. We touch upon these subjects, and I think they're really important subjects, but it's not something we specialize in. So what we do is we supplement that, and we help kids develop those skills which we think will help them in the future, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in getting a job. And I think about this as an employer. I no longer care where you went to school. I don't care what grades you have. I care about three things. Do you fit into my team? Do you have a desire to learn? And whether you have an ability to learn. For me, attitude just trumps experience because I think that you can learn so much, and AI can give you a lot of the sort of knowledge base that you need.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, is CoLab kind of inspired by escape rooms? Because when you think about it, it's like you go into rooms, you have to solve puzzles, and you have to escape. Or sometimes you have to escape, but you have to find out.
Yeah, so we try to frame it as three separate things. So we've got games like Chicken Tomato, Rickle, Polyphemus. They're all sort of 2D pixel art Zelda-esque games that they play, and they all have different storylines and skills. So Rickle is like a chess, checkers, Catan sort of style game. Polyphemus is more about sharing moves and escaping from the one-eyed giant. Chicken Tomato is all about coordination and communication. So that's one part. The other part is discussions. So we like to have give kids a platform to practice how to negotiate, how to debate. So we have something called Odysseus on trial. So we're talking about the Odyssey, and then we were discussing whether Odysseus is a good person. Obviously, it's a hard conversation because it's not black and white. And then the final part is sort of escape rooms and scavenger hunts. We know that a lot of the kids who use CoLab really like exploring on Gather. They like the open space. They like walking around. So yeah, we've made those to cater to that. And I think escape rooms like Elemental Escape or Robo Arcade are just really popular at the moment.
Yeah. So you went from accountant to chef to startup consultant to social entrepreneur. At what point did you actually start embracing the zigzag?
Uh, so my parents are very traditional, and they said go to school, go to university, get a good degree, work in a normal job, get promoted, become a partner, retire. It was kind of like these hoops that I had to keep jumping through. And I was an accountant for 6 years, worked in corporate finance. I was a director by 24, bought my first house at 25, and I thought, I've made it. What do I do next? And no one could give me an answer. So I said, I don't believe in this anymore. I quit and I became a chef. I didn't tell my parents for 18 months. They were like, why are you not here on the weekends anymore? Why are you working so late? Because I knew they'd be frustrated, but I threw it away because I knew that I could always go back to that job. But I wanted to try something new when I had the opportunity, when I had, I didn't have kids, I didn't have anything that had to tie me down. And being a chef really opened my eyes to this idea of learning by doing. You're thrown into a kitchen and you're told, make this recipe times 100. And you're like, what do you mean by that? And I was making like 100 liters of custard in 40 minutes. And you start to learn all these skills, and you meet loads of new people. And it just opened my eyes to this idea of if you can try, you have the right attitude, you can learn anything. So I made sous chef in 9 months. I was running the restaurant, which is insane. I had 9 months of experience in the restaurant. And then I just kept pivoting and I left that world because it was just incredibly hard as an occupation. And I said to myself, why can't I be a chef 2 days a week and still have that fun and then be a consultant 3 days a week? Everyone said to me, that's impossible. No one does that. You can't do this stuff. It's not traditional. No one will hire you. I just made it happen. And, I think that kind of gave me belief that if I can become a chef from an accountant, I can probably do anything else.
Wow. I mean, that's incredible, especially that you made sous chef in 9 months.
Uh, I think I was lucky, to be honest. I chose the right restaurant. But I would say that it gave me that confidence to just keep trying and make my own sort of destiny. And I think that's what resonates with me for homeschooling. I think you can control your own destiny in a way that maybe the traditional path can't. Uh, but yeah, I still haven't figured out what I want to do forever. I've pivoted quite a few times, but I think it's a good thing. You just accumulate all these skills and people that you know and experiences that don't go away.
Exactly.
I've just, as part of my day job, I'm a chief of staff to startups, and I recently hired a chief product officer, and everyone's technically the same level, but what made him special was that he had a personality and he fit into the culture and he was curious. I think curiosity is such a hard thing to teach. And he was just asking questions, he was diving deep, and he built something. In the interview, he brought something that he'd built for us to show us how it would work. He was like, look, rather than me telling you how good I am, here's something I built. It works. You can use it. And I was like, sign the contract. You've got the job. And I think this is where, right now with AI and everything, you can just build stuff. You can make stuff happen, right? I mean, with this podcast, like how long has it been? Obviously, it's been an iterative process, but I imagine you've picked it up a lot and you've sort of like evolved it as you've gone, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's been a little over a year now running the podcast, and this podcast has evolved so much. I think not just skill wise, us and confidence,
Mm,
um, the tools that we have access to.
mm,
Definitely. I mean, like, we only started the podcast. Me and Ella didn't really know each other. Like, we didn't even chat to get to know each other. I just reached out going, hey, you want to start a podcast? And this is like first time we messaged each other. So, and it went from like us not knowing each other at all then to starting a podcast even when we didn't know each other and then just producing these episodes and then them turning into these special episodes we've been filming, vlogs, celebrations,
Yeah.
and then like presenting at like these amazing places. Yeah,
it's cool. It's really cool. And also, like, you've probably learned about marketing, you've learned about recording, editing, you've learned about brands. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's everything that I think kids should learn. But you've done it in a way that's fun and engaging for you.
Yeah, I think the whole point of the podcast was never to create this big thing that is super popular, that well known. We want to have fun. We want
Mm,
to share recess and talk to these guides about their experiences. It's it's not some money making plan
mm.
or it way to it's not a way for us to gain experience so we can end up getting a job like this.
Well, do you mind me asking, like, do you know what you want to do when you grow up? Like, have you thought about this question?
plenty.
Yeah. What
I
ideas do you have?
um, well, since I already published a book, I was considering having or being an author, but like it's also a bit difficult to really know if I really want this,
Mm,
especially because profits, like how much it takes a while to make a book to do the edits,
mm,
and I don't think what you get is worth it. But I mean, for me right now, it's not really worth. It's not really about the money. But if I were to think about it, if I were to be getting the money I've been making, that I'm making now, I can't live off of that. So I was, and I also enjoy baking and yeah, mostly baking. And earlier, a few years ago, I really wanted to be a barista for some reason. So I mean, I'm right now. I'm kind of all over the place. I mean, there's so
you
many things I can be.
you could start a coffee shop that sells the books that you write, right? And
Yeah.
you could bake everything in the back. It'd be quite a cool place. Just hang out, record the podcast there. Job done.
exactly. Oh, that sounds so cozy. I don't think I'd ever leave. Books, tea, pastries. Thank you.
Sounds dreamy. Maybe Great British Bake Off in the back, as in a cinema room. Job done.
Yes. That would be
Um,
fun.
w- one thing that I don't know if you've read about this lady, Emily Rosen. She did 25 different jobs before her 25th birthday. And the idea was that she wanted to try archaeology in Transylvania and, media and government roles. And she worked on a farm. She did all this stuff. And the idea was not, this is what I want to do. She just wanted to figure out and answer that question. What do I like? What am I good at? Because I honestly think if you don't try, you don't know. And my biggest frustration with the UK education system is that it becomes very narrow, right? So you start studying, then you choose your top subjects, then you go to university and you focus on one subject. And by the time you've graduated, you're in this pigeonhole, and it's quite hard to pivot. Whereas I think the US is a bit better with you've got majors and minors, right? And you can sort of have a bit more freedom. But yeah, I'd say if you haven't checked her out, Emily Rosen is really cool. Her story is really cool.
I'll look her up. I don't think I haven't heard about her before, but I'm definitely curious now. So, a lot of parents and educators still see games as the enemy of learning, and we kind of talked about this in our episode with Susie, one of the
Mm.
recess parents. So what's your, I guess, elevator pitch to win them over?
Um, I mean, as most parents know, as most educators know, the biggest challenge to learning is actually that engagement piece. How do I help my kid want to do this thing, right? If you force, so I studied Cantonese. My parents are like, you have to go to Sunday school, you have to learn Cantonese. And I was like, do I have to go every Sunday? Do I have to do my homework? Like, I wasn't interested. And it wasn't until my dad bought me Dragon Ball Z manga books in Cantonese. I was like, I'm reading this, I'm re writing all these words, I'm learning all these words, and my Cantonese exploded. Like it got so much better. And I think that's a really good analogy where if you can make it so that the kid wants to do it, the learning, you don't have to force it, the learning goes exponential. But I also think there's a balance, right? I think the worry that parents have is that addiction piece. And I think I look back at synthesis, it was just about, at the end, it was just about play, 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 and getting as many rounds in as possible. Absolutely fine. But I think it's, you know, something like CoLab should be part of a balanced diet. You shouldn't do it 24/7, 7 days a week. We have some parents who ask us, can I sign my kid up to do 3, 4, 5 CoLab sessions? And we say no, because I don't think it's good for you to keep doing the same thing over and over. I think it's important that you have that diversity.
Exactly. I mean, like you were saying, I can't remember her name, but the woman who did
Mm.
25 different jobs before she was 25, um, she switched it up a lot.
Yeah. So I think it's the other example I think is Roger Federer. If you read about his story, he's, one of the greatest tennis players of all time. And he talks about how being a generalist and trying all different types of sports helped him become a better tennis player. And I think this sort of variety is important, but it also kept him engaged. He wasn't bored because he was doing the same thing over and over. And I think, that's where games come in, right? It keeps you engaged, it keeps you focused, it makes it fun.
Yeah, I think games always make everything a little more fun. What are some specific skills you've seen a child master at CoLab that the traditional curriculum often misses?
Uh, and we talk about a lot of skills, right? We talk about, communication, leadership, problem solving, emotional intelligence, resilience, not giving up. But I think what our kids ultimately get is confidence and curiosity, and actually the ability to make friends. So one of the kids that has been at CoLab since day one, his mom said that, he struggled with traditional education. He didn't have any friends. He had one friend. He couldn't relate to people. I think he's super smart as a kid, but he couldn't sort of relate to others in his age group, and he didn't know how to read cues. And at CoLab, we just did a lot of coaching with him. We put him in different situations. We helped him out. And about 6 weeks into that journey, he and his mum traveled from Mexico to Chicago. And his mum dropped him an email on Sunday and said, Alan, my son has just made 6 friends at the airport. I don't know how he's done it. He's never done this before, but he's used something's changed. I think it's CoLab. And I think it is that sort of confidence piece. If you have that confidence to just go out and meet people and try out different things, it will start clicking. So yeah, I'd say confidence and curiosity are the two things that we help our kids get. But it doesn't happen overnight. You have to persevere, and there are hard parts of CoLab that make you want to give up, but that's also part of that growth.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes complete sense.
But if like if you could go back to your student self and when you were younger, knowing you would eventually be a chef, accountant, business owner, what would you tell yourself about the pressure to decide your future?
I would say I wish I knew. If I knew, I'd be a millionaire right now, and would have done all sorts of different things. I would say just try things out. You don't know what you're good at. You don't know what you've you know what you like, and that will change over time as well. I think having this open mind is quite important. You know, working for the last 25 years, I've realized I'm a generalist. I like different projects. I like the variety. I like meeting new people. I like being uncomfortable, as odd as that sounds. So one of my clients is I basically do special projects for them, and special projects is undefined. So one week it'll be hiring someone senior. The second week it might be setting up a new team. The third week it might be the CEO saying to me, Alan, I want you to build me a wakeboard park in the middle of England. Here's 20 million pounds. Off you go. I'm like, what? And that kind of variety and surprise keeps me on my toes. It gets me up in the morning and it sort of pushes me to keep wanting to learn. Yeah, I just think I would say start accumulating skills and experiences over money. Like you said before, you're doing this podcast not because you want to make money, it's because you're actually just learning so much and you're making friends, you're interviewing adults, right? I would never have had the confidence to go and interview, you know, people who've been doing stuff for 20, 30 years. I wouldn't speak to an adult. I'd be like, I have nothing to say to you, but you've come up with some really great questions. So yeah, it's kind of the same sort of lines.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, by the way.
Knowing what you know now about kids and what makes them thrive and interested, would you have wanted recess when you were a kid?
Yes, without a doubt. I love some of the games like Terraria, one of my favorite games. I loved playing RuneScape as a kid, but they were kind of they weren't quite the same, right? And it was always the same sort of thing. Whereas Recess, you have that variety. But I think what makes it special is the community hour, where you can meet all sorts of different people, but also the coaches that you have there. Like Christopher is one of my favorite people. He's got so much knowledge. He's super friendly. He really does put the kids first. And you know, I look back at my education and think to myself, the turning points are the top points where I had someone who really believed in me. And I think Christopher is, I think most people at Recess actually are those sort of coaches who will just help you, give you that confidence to try. I mean, ask yourselves, right? Would you have started this podcast without Ben and the team supporting you? Probably not as far as you would have, right? And I think that's the difference, is the people that make it special. There are other platforms out there, that try to do something similar, but they can't capture that magic.
Exactly. I think the recess guides are a huge inspiration to us and all recess kids. Christopher, I remember my orientation and the first day I joined recess, and he really did make me feel so welcome
Mm,
and comfortable in a place where I was a little uncomfortable being.
yeah,
And
I can imagine.
yeah, I've recently introduced an in real life friend of mine to recess, probably 3 days ago, and she's blossomed. She's chatting to the guides, inviting people to play games,
Mm.
and it's incredible watching her meet Christopher today. Was he really brought out something in her?
That's amazing. Yeah. It's he's going on paternity soon, so we won't see him for a while, but we wish him all the best and he will be missed.
Yes, we're all so excited for his
Yeah.
baby. So we ask this question to all of our adult guests. When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up, and how did that change over time?
I wanted to be a chef. That was always the goal, which is why I kind of made it happen. I had a bet with my dad. I had an agreement. I basically said, if I am self-sustainable and I can do all the stuff that you want me to do, am I okay to be a chef? And he was like, yeah, shake on it. It's a deal. He forgot about it. He never thought I'd give up all, like good pay, good hours, good job title to be a chef. I did it, and there's that story of do what you love, and I followed that. I followed my passion. I actually think it's quite bad advice to do what you love, because if you're doing the same thing over and over 24/7, 7 days a week, you won't love it anymore, right? If I ask you to record a podcast every day, twice a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, I imagine you get bored by like week two. Um,
Quite.
and it's kind of the same thing. So I say everything in moderation. That's kind of the learning I've had, like trying to find that balance of doing the things that you love, but also doing the things that, give you the lifestyle that you want. I think for me, that's CoLab, which is a hobby, and then a day job that pays the bills, and then volunteering to learn some new skills. I think like that for me is a good mix.
It's really cool. I love how you always wanted to be a chef.
Well, I grew up in I don't know if you have this in Canada, but like a fish and chip shop. So food was always around me. My parents are amazing cooks. Yeah, and just like, just love food. And we eat out all the time. It's probably too much, but that's what life's for.
Yeah. Um, so, talking about maternity leave and stuff, a huge congratulations on the new addition to your family.
Thank you.
So now that you're a dad, thinking about your own child growing up in this rapidly changing world, does it make you more committed to the CoLab philosophy of what, uh, teaching how to think rather than what to think?
I can't wait for my kid to do CoLab. Like it's the thing that keeps me going. And I think for me, doing CoLab has made me a more patient person. It's taught me how to coach and not always jump in with the right answer. I think it's quite easy for me to jump in and be like, hey, just do this or do this or do this because that's my day job. But having to step back and coach kids and adults and young people to figure it out for themselves is the best thing you can do. I think you empower them, you give them confidence, but you also teach them something that they can use forever. Yeah, it makes a huge difference. And I've always thought that way, but having a kid now, it's harder to always embody that philosophy because you want the best for the kid, but you also have to think about the long term. And for me, he's still quite young, but when he's older, I will give him, you know, a few things to sort of push him and not always make it so easy because I do think that there is a lot to learn from struggle. I actually think it's really important.
Yeah, that's nice. I'm unschooled, so everything about my learning and homeschooling journey super self-directed. It's
Mm.
pretty much all chosen by me, um, which often means that it's very challenging, or if I'm behind on something, I have
Mm.
to really challenge myself and work very hard to catch back up.
Ella, do you mind me asking, what you how do you know what you need to learn? Or like, how do you decide? Because obviously it's based on interest, right? But say you do something, you're like, I don't know how to code Python. Do you then just decide to figure out how to do it, and then kind of that directs where you focus your learning?
Um, I think so. So I think coding is probably not where I'd put my time, but
Mm.
if we were saying musical theater, for
Mm.
instance, um, I tried it. I realized I loved it. And then I think my mom and I spent a lot of time finding the people who could help me.
Mm.
Um, and I think for me as well, my method is often trial and error until you get it,
Yeah.
or look at what other people are doing and make it fit for you.
Mm.
Um,
So is a
so
lot of it is about finding the right people to support you along that journey.
exactly. I think I often need someone to push me to do the harder things, or
Mm.
else I think I let myself go too easy.
It's hard. I mean, it definitely is hard, but if you have something to work towards it, it makes it a bit easier to think about, okay, I just need to push a little bit more. Cool. No, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, of course. Um, okay, so we have been talking about cooking and baking the whole time. So now we need to have a question specifically about cooking and baking. Maddie and I both love baking, and since
Mm.
you are a chef, I'm assuming you like baking as well. So I hear that you like to experiment with unusual flavor combinations. We need an example. What's the weirdest or coolest one that has actually worked, or maybe some
Uh,
that haven't worked?
so I go for some really random ones. But one of the things that my wife tells me I'm good at is making ice cream. And I started experimenting with loads of different flavors like shiso leaf and strawberries, so savory and sort of fruity. Um, but then the one that I stumbled upon was olive oil ice cream. And it was the thing that, yeah, was quite special to me. And it gives it a fruitiness. It makes it quite a great mouthfeel, and it's healthier for you. And so the idea is you make this sort of normal vanilla base, you infuse it with olive oil, good olive oil, and then when you serve it, you also add some olive oil and sea salt, and it's got like a real freshness to it, a little bit of pepperiness. The sea salt gives it, it's not so sweet, and it's incredible, and it's super easy to make. Like you just make any ice cream, and then you add a drizzle of olive oil, and you churn it, and yeah, it becomes this super amazing ice cream. I can share the recipe if you want to use it. It's quite nice. Just uses a lot of egg yolk, and then you're thinking, what do I use the egg whites for? Um,
Meringue
but
always pairs very well with ice cream.
it does until you're making like I don't know, a kilo of meringue. I don't know how much meringue you can eat, right? So there's that, and I started making chocolate mousse, but without using eggs recently. It's quite cool. So the idea is that I'm not vegan, but the idea is that we often eat chickpeas at home and we're left with the aquafaba, the liquid from the tin. So I save it, I melt some chocolate, nice chocolate, I whisk the aquafaba up and it becomes almost like a meringue. You add some sugar, you then fold it into the chocolate and it becomes like a super easy, super healthy mousse. And you wouldn't be able to tell. I'd say it's better than a normal mousse that I can make. Um,
Oh wow.
so I highly recommend it. I mean, Christopher is vegan. He said to me, so it'd be perfect for him. And actually, it's really impressive, and it takes 25 minutes to make. But that's neither of those are baking. The one that I shared with someone at CoLab recently is a banana bread, but before you bake it, you dip a knife into Nutella, and then you use the Nutella knife and sort of like carve through the raw dough, and then you bake it, and basically the Nutella becomes liquid inside the banana. So when you cut it open, you have like pools of Nutella. It's super nice.
Ooh. Okay, all of these. I need to try them now. I'm so curious. Those all sound
We
very good.
we could start a cooking channel with Esme.
Oh yes, that'd be really fun. Has Esme ever tried any of your unusual flavor combinations?
Not yet. I was off recess for a few months because of the baby, but I've shared a few things with her, and yeah, we're gonna talk.
Ooh. All right. I would love to hear what Esme thinks of some of your creations.
After talking about some baking, do you want to play a game?
Absolutely. I love games.
Cool. So today we'll be playing Would You Rather, but Food Edition. To start off the game, would you rather only eat sweet or only eat savory for the rest of your life?
If you asked me 5 years ago, sweet every single day of the week. Now, savory.
Yeah, I resonate.
It's really tricky for me, but I might have to go sweet. I'm not sure what does a croissant fall under? Is it savory or sweet? This is my
S-
tiebreaker.
Sweet,
It's a
I'd say sweet.
Sweet. Okay.
really,
So then I'm going sweet.
Fair.
yeah, but like sweet is like mostly dessert or like it's like savory. You're gonna miss out on like A lot. Well, but a lot of drinks are in the sweet.
Mm.
It's people ask me this question and I can never answer it. Like I go from savory, then like thinking maybe I would go with sweet.
I mean, you've got stuff like pizza and carbonaras, and you've got sushi, and then you've got like, all this amazing savory stuff. But then you've got like bubble tea and ice cream and apple crumble. And you're like, why can't I just have both?
I know. Oh, now all the foods you're listing, I might have to go back onto savory. This is so
Yeah,
hard.
I know.
Um, I've got one, actually.
Mhm.
Can I ask?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
of course.
So in the UK, in fish and chip shops, you have three pickled items that people eat. One's a gherkin, so a pickled cucumber. One is an onion, a pickled onion, and one is a pickled egg. Okay, the pickled egg is something special. So if you were to, would you rather eat five pickled onions or one pickled egg?
Um, I'm gonna have to go with onions. I'm honest. I really enjoy pickled things, and I always love when my mom makes pickled onions.
Okay, great answer.
Um, so the onions, it's like whole, right?
They are whole, small onions, but they are whole,
And you have to eat this all in one sitting.
all in one sitting.
Then I'm going with the egg.
Wow. It's the only thing in the fish and chip shop that I refuse to eat. I've tried everything on the menu. Pickled egg is, I can't.
Oh, interesting. Now I'm curious on what that tastes like. I might have to ask my mom to help me find it.
Ella, I don't suggest you do that, but if you do, let me know. Write me a postcard.
Okay, I will do that. I'll let you know my thoughts.
All right, so would you rather eat the best meal of your life alone, though, or a mediocre lunch or a mediocre meal with your favorite people?
Ah, there's a YouTube channel where this guy talks about this. It's like your last meal, and he
I
sort of
might say that.
he brings along your favorite foods, and he'll make it, and then he talks about all this stuff. I would say with people, I think the people make the experience memorable. The food is a fleeting thing. You eat it, it's great, but how many dishes do you really remember after 5, 10 years?
Yeah.
Exactly. I would go the same. I think at my grandmother's house, my grandmother has incredible food, but my most prominent memories are definitely of the conversations or the games we're playing while eating the food.
Yeah, like when you're eating alone, you savor it, right? Like you try to in your mind, but when you're with these your favorite people, like um, accidentally you save it and savor it because you're just constantly chatting.
Agreed. One of my favorite food memories is actually growing up. I grew up in Hong Kong, and my grandparents. I lived with my grandparents, and they would bring me this thing called chan fan, which is like a rice noodle, and it'd be from the side of the street, super dirty, like a street vendor. You probably wouldn't eat it now, and they'd bring it in a bag, and I'd just munch on it, and it's like I'd eat an adult portion, and that for me just reminds me of home. It's quite crazy that food can bring back those memories.
That's
Yeah.
that's really nice. I we had some friends. My family and I are originally from South Africa, although I don't sound like it. Um, and we recently had some friends visit us from South Africa, and
Mm.
we went to the shop where they sell all the meats and the South African food, and it was very nostalgic eating all of the snacks.
Snacks, South African snacks are top tier.
Oh, have you had some?
Yeah, quite a few of my friends are from South Africa, and
Oh,
they there's quite a few shops in the UK as well that sell it. Sell, I think what are they called? It's basically like a type of jerky, right? And you just
biltong.
go, yeah, biltong. It's just so good. Um, South African wines are good. Like they just have loads of different flavors that you can't really get. Yeah, always pushes the boat out, which is nice. And then you have a braai, which is obviously really nice.
Yeah. For those who don't know, braai is like a barbecue, pretty much.
Except South Africans will barbecue regardless of the weather. Like it could be
I-
pouring in rain and like, yeah, it's fine.
yeah.
Okay, I have one final one to ask. Would you rather do a man versus food challenge where you have to eat, I don't know, 50 burgers in 10 minutes? Or would you rather not eat for 2 weeks?
Oh,
Not eat for 2 weeks.
I would. I'd probably have to do man versus food just because I really don't want to be hungry.
Wait, can you like drink things like smoothies or something?
You can drink smoothies. I mean, I'm not sure you'd want to drink a smoothie, but you can drink smoothies.
If you like, this is, I wouldn't do this, but like, if you got a burger and you put it in a blender and you just blended it, you can still have it.
Yeah, you can have a liquid burger if you want, Maddie. No one's going to
Yeah,
stop you.
yeah. Okay, so then yeah, definitely not eat for 2 weeks, especially because I get full pretty fast. I would be like torture.
Yeah, it would be torture.
Is it
Agreed.
like you have to eat it?
Yeah, basically.
Life or death situation.
Wouldn't go that far, but yeah, you have
Yeah.
to eat it. It's a tough one.
Yeah, that's tricky. Ooh, these are good ones.
Would you rather only bake or only cook from now on?
Wow, this is tough. It's almost 9 p.m. for me, and I'm thinking, I love baking. It's kind of like a sacred place for me, and I can just chill and put headphones on and just do my thing. Making a lemon tart is one of my favorite things to do, but you can't survive on it. Being really practical, there's only so many baked goods you can eat. Or you can have like baked chicken and Sunday roast. Mm, there's more skill, I think, in cooking, so I'd go for cooking.
I'll go with baking just because I don't really cook, but I mostly bake. But yeah.
I'm probably also gonna go with baking. Pastries are some of my favorite foods, and I just enjoy baking more.
I feel like I need to give you both some recipes you can test, like proper baking
Definitely.
recipes. Yeah, and you can have it whilst you're doing the podcast.
We can do it. Like we can film ourselves making it.
Yes.
Chaoticness. It can be like a series. Chaotic and the yeah.
Chaotic chaos in the kitchen.
Mhm. Yeah. All right. So, would you rather eat a dessert covered in ketchup or one covered in mustard?
Oh, I love
Okay.
mustard, right? I think it's super tasty, but anyone who's ever done like a wasabi challenge knows that you just start crying and you can't breathe. Um, Ketchup. Let's just do ketchup.
Ketchup is sweeter. I would honestly think like ketchup because it ketchup like they put sugar in it usually too. So it's like kind of I would say in the more sweeter dessert kind of side rather than like mustard.
It's just like a
Oh,
tomato smoothie, right? It's
oh
a
yeah.
tomato smoothie, so why not?
I'm gonna have to go with mustard. I am I love mustard. I could put it on most things. Um, eating a dessert covered in mustard might not be my favorite thing, but I'm not a huge fan of ketchup, so
Mm, fair.
all right, that's the end of our game, and now we have our last guest question, which was Tom. His question was, what is one of the biggest items on your bucket list that you want to experience?
Oh, I actually would love to do scuba diving around the wreckages. I think it'd be super cool to do and explore all of that. But I'm a terrible swimmer. I don't do well underwater. Yeah, I think I would panic and freak out, but I think the experience would be really cool. I think that would be the thing I would love to do.
Hmm, sounds cool.
That's so cool.
I think it's a really unique experience.
Yeah, I'd love to do it. I mean, we thought about safari maybe, and that would be quite cool to see the Serengeti, um, see the Great Migration. But I think scuba diving is it's probably even more mysterious.
If you were to create a question for us to ask the next guest on our podcast, what would it be?
Hmm. I have a simple one. What's your favorite book? And it's a really simple one, but it's a really hard one because I like to give people book recommendations to read. And I'm running low, so I would love to find out if there are any good books out there.
Do you have a favorite book?
Yeah, I actually have a book that I read quite a few times. It's called it's by an FBI negotiator. Never Split the Difference. It's a really cool book because it gives you techniques that you can use to negotiate everything in life, and I've used it God knows how many times, and it's amazing. It always works.
Hmm, nice. I'll look it up.
It's a bit of a self-help book, but it's a really cool book.
If I were to give a recommendation, definitely not a self-help book, but my one of my favorite books of all time is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. It's a YA fantasy. I I love it. I have read it countless times, and it's the I buy it for anyone who says they haven't read it.
What's it called?
Six of Crows by
Six
Leigh
of
Bardugo.
Crows. Okay.
Ella, I actually bought it a few days ago.
Oh.
Yeah, so I have like a queen of books I'm gonna read. Yeah, so I'm gonna finish two books and then I'm gonna read it.
Oh,
Right.
nice. All right. I
We
need to
can
hear what you think.
Yeah.
start.
All right, so sadly, it is the end of this episode. Thank you so much, Alan, for being on the Research Random podcast. It was really fun to chat about all your hobbies, all the jobs you've had, and just yeah, just generally get to know you.
Thank you for having me. I've loved it, and you both asked really great questions.
Thank you. If you are part of the Recess community and would like to be on our show, please email us, Maddie and Ella, at recessrundown@gmail.com or message us on the Recess platform directly, and maybe you can be on the podcast too.
Please like, subscribe, and please don't forget to hit that notification button. And we will see you all in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.